everybody, welcome back to Let's Talk. I am your host, John, and this is the monthly Let's Talk review show video where I do reviews for all of my channel directors and all of my channel bankroll members. And we're also going to be doing a special review here on the channel for an upcoming film that is going to be coming out in November of this year. So we're going to actually start this show off with our channel bankroll members review, Mr. Smelly Potato, who wanted me to review Man in Witch, The Dance of a Thousand Steps. And this one is directed by Michael Hines, and it stars Tammy Stronach and Greg Steinbrugger.
And all these other actors, do you love and admire?
And this is a British fantasy film. And I didn't even hear about this film. It came out last year. It was free on Amazon Prime. I'm like, oh, I'm going to check this one out. And it's just your classic fairy tale. This guy is cursed. His name is Goatherd. I guess you can probably figure out what his profession is. But he's cursed. He can never get married. And this is killing him because he can't figure out why he can't fall in love. That's all he wants to do. He seems like a nice enough guy. You know, he's just a regular Joe like you and I. But just can't find anyone. He doesn't understand why. Then he realizes, well, honestly, his mother tells him, "Whoa, I know what happened. It's because you were cursed." And he's like, "What?" He's like, "Yeah, you were cursed." And he's like, I got to figure this out then. Well, he stumbles upon a witch who says, "I can fix your curse," even though she has no intention of fixing it, which, you know, they'll get into later in the film. Not going to spoil this for you. This is still the setup. She's like, "Well, if you do these 3 impossible tasks, well, I can grant you a wish and you will fall in love. But you also have to give up your firstborn child." And you're like, all that to fall in love? Well, he accepts, and she, of course, does not expect him to be able to do all of these impossible tasks. Now, this is a classic fairy tale through and through. Kind of reminded me of Shrek, but also it's more adult-oriented, so there's more adult stuff in there as well. But it did kind of feel like a live-action Shrek film in some areas. It was very well made. I love the set design. I love the production design. You know what kind of reminded me of as far as this goes? The video games Fable, the ones on the Xbox 360. I think there was a remake that came out a couple years ago. I honestly don't remember. But I do remember, like, the original ones on the Xbox 360, like, kind of that art design where it's a little bit, like, cartoonish. It's not, like, very serious period piecey, but I really did appreciate that because it really fit the entire film style through and through. It was just very, very funny to me. It, you know, captures that perfect balance of drama, which, you know, it's very lighthearted throughout the entire film while also being very funny. And then at the end, it still tugs at your emotions. Like, it was very well done. And I'm just surprised that not as many people were talking about this. This is kind of in the same vein, even though it's very different. You know, you can watch this as a family, I suppose. There is there's some sexual stuff, but this is still pretty lighthearted enough, like kind of in the vein of like Psycho Gorman and movies like that, where it's not taking itself too seriously, but it's just done well enough that it still works as a complete film. And one that should have actually been recognized by a lot more people, in my opinion. So this is my recommendation to you guys for this movie. And I appreciate Mr. Smelly Potato recommending this one to me. This is definitely one, I wouldn't say it's an autumn film. This feels like actually more of a spring film, if I had to say. So wait for the spring, turn this one on, watch it with the family if you'd like. If not, it's a great date film. I would give Man in Witch, The Dance of a Thousand Steps a very solid 9 out of 10. This was a great time. Next up, we're going to be talking about 2025's The Cellar. Now, this one I'm reviewing because the actual director reached out to me, Jamie Langlands. I hope I'm pronouncing that right. He told me this movie's coming out in November. He would send me a digital screener so I could check it out, and he asked if I would review it here on the channel. I said, sure, I'll review it here on the channel, but of course, I am going to be honest, so even though I am reviewing this for him, I have to be honest with you guys, and checking out The Cellar, the movie was pretty good. I can't say I absolutely love it and say that it was a flawless film because as much as I enjoyed certain sequences in this movie, and I definitely enjoyed the setting, it basically just takes place in, you guessed it, a cellar. But it's set up in a very unique way because we're seeing characters in these AA meetings, and these are the characters that are locked in the actual cellar, and we don't know why. It's a mystery movie, and the mystery actually unravels in a very good way, and it ends in a very good way as well. The cellar itself, the setting, it kind of reminded me of the movie The Cube because like each room was kind of lit in a very unique way. It actually had a very beautiful cinematography. It actually had very beautiful cinematography despite feeling, very low budget, very indie filmish. I think they made the best out of their budget. The acting was actually phenomenal when they're given the chance to act. That's the thing. Like the monologues when they're in these AA meetings are just done so well. It's like they all got their big moments to shine. The problem is this is an 85-minute runtime film. it feels like there's a lot of filler, like just the one lead actress walking around in the cellar herself, kind of discovering these rooms. Like, they're able to like maintain the tension through the score, which is also done very well. It drags a lot for a film that is this short. This does feel like it's a short film that was extended to be a feature-length film. I appreciate the tension being maintained throughout the entire thing. I just feel like as an entire film, it kind of misses the boat just because you're dragging it out a little bit too much. The pacing is just not done that well. And I feel bad saying that because, again, this is somebody who made a film, and it's something I could never imagine myself doing. It seems like it's an impossible task. So I do feel a little bit guilty saying that. It's just that, I have to be honest with you guys. That's kind of the big thing. My whole big motto here is I'm just not going to lie to you guys. I'm going to tell you exactly how I feel. I'm going to be genuine, and this is how I felt about it. I thought it was a pretty well done horror film. It's one I can definitely recommend. I don't know if I'd recommend going out and seeing this the day it comes out, but you're supporting an indie filmmaker who did a phenomenal job on this movie, even though I don't think it's a perfect film. The acting is great. Like I said, it ends great. It's got some great tension throughout, great set design. I appreciated this movie. And again, something I don't think I could ever do, but as far as watching the movie, how did I feel about it? I felt like this film was a pretty good 6.5 out of 10. Definitely check it out if you have the chance. That one is The Cellar. So anyway, moving on to the next one. For our channel director Kevin Kruger, I'm going to be talking about A Stalker in the House from 2021. And this movie, it's not that great, but it is entertaining as hell. And that's a good thing. I mean, if it keeps my attention the entire time, can't really complain too much, right? That's the thing about film. I always say the worst thing that a film can do is be boring, because if a movie is boring, it's going to be really hard to hold your attention. So certain movies do have their own ability to keep your attention and become enjoyable, despite the fact it's probably not a very well-made movie. And this movie is not a very well-made movie, but it does have a great lead actor at the helm who, I wouldn't say he's a great actor, but he's probably great for this performance. A stalker in the house. This guy is just a sleazeball, a dirtbag, just taking advantage of every situation. And he's also a killer, so you can't even make this kind of stuff up. At the beginning of the movie, we see him killing, we believe, his girlfriend, and then just moving on with his day. Now, you would think, alright, we're going to investigate this, like this murder, what the hell happened? No, we go into the credits, cut to the next scene, and we just see him basically doing the same thing again. And he kills a couple people throughout this movie, but they never actually get into the law enforcement side of this, because it looks like they probably had no money, so they're filming in 2 locations and just kind of redressing the set. That's at least how it feels, with like one slight outdoor setting, which again, you can't really knock the indie filmmaking again because it's not something I could do. But the problem is you couldn't get better actors other than the lead actor, the stalker himself. The rest of them are just not that great. The main person, our main protagonist that we're supposed to be following around, is just the most annoying, stupid person you could ever imagine. How she just doesn't try to get out of the situation. It's like, you're not supposed to blame the victim, but in this case, it's like you're not even trying. Like, at one point, I guess this is kind of a spoiler, she sleeps with the guy, despite knowing the fact that he's a monster, and she's been pushing him away. Call the cops. Do something. He's not in the house in a lot of moments. He's not, just there at every single time. She doesn't even, try. I don't understand. And then you have sex with him? What is wrong with you? I was blown away. Let's put it like that. I was flabbergasted. I couldn't believe, the stupidity of this woman is unbelievable. I mean, and this guy, I don't think he's a genius, but again, we talked about the law enforcement. Is there any? We're not sure. I don't think we're supposed to find out. But because of all this, it's just so silly, and all the acting is so bad. It's so entertaining. It's one that I can definitely recommend you check out. It's called The Stalker in the House. It's a good time. It's fun. It's unbelievable. You have to see it to believe it. This is actually one that Dennis, who does a couple shows here with me on the channel, my cousin. We also do the Let's Talk morning show. This is a movie he would appreciate because he'll just get a good laugh out of it because he'll just be flabbergasted by the acting. But, again, it's something you kind of have to appreciate. If I was going to give this one a score of 1 to 10, I would give this one a pretty solid 5 out of 10. And next up, we got Uncle V's director review, and this film is called La Belle Nuit. And this is a French film, a French-Switzerland production film, and that translates to The Beautiful Troublemaker. And this is a 4 4-hour epic, and not in the sense that you're probably thinking. No, this takes place for the most part in one setting with very long, drawn-out sequences. And this one, when I heard about it because of Uncle V, I'm like, is he fucking with me? Because this is something that he would do. Well, I guess he wasn't, because this is actually a beautiful film. It's not something I'll probably ever watch again, but I really actually was up to the challenge for it. And the story itself is kind of beautiful. It's really about an artist's struggle. I'm not somebody who's into paintings. I've never been emotionally moved by paintings or kind of art like that. You know, I can appreciate it. David, aka Shamrock Balls, is a phenomenal artist. He's an undiscovered artist, in my opinion, when it comes to drawing and stuff like that. But there are people who can look at a painting and get emotionally moved by it. Essentially how I feel, and probably how you guys feel, since this is a movie channel first. Get emotionally moved by film. So I was watching the film from the perspective of this is a director, an auteur, you know, an artist. Everyone is an artist, whether you can translate it to writing, any kind of way you want to look at it. What art is, I imagine an artist has this kind of struggle. Me, myself, I kind of consider myself a little bit of an artist based on, you know, what I do here on YouTube and the thumbnails and everything like that. So I can understand, like, you know, you get wrapped up in it and how it just consumes you. And it's really, that's what this movie is about, because it's about an artist who, after somebody wants to go and admire his work, he doesn't really do it anymore, just like kind of personally, and that's like kind of it. But he's not like on that professional level. It's been a very long time. And he wants to go back and and finish this project that he was working on years ago. But now he discovers that this guy who's coming to visit him, his girlfriend or his fiance, something like that, it inspires him, and she becomes his new muse. So he's going to be doing a naked painting of her this time. And of course, you know, it's the struggle between the muse and the artist. That's really the rest of the film. The beautiful troublemaker is her. You know, it's like that push and pull between them. It's about their relationship, but there are long sequences of just him painting. This might drive people nuts because there is no score throughout the entire film, but yet it still works, and yet you're still hooked the entire time. There's enough in there. It's a beautiful setting. He lives in, I guess, like, it looks like a castle. It's fucking phenomenal. It's a place I would love to live in, just smaller. I don't know how people deal with space like that, but his actual art studio is beautiful. So I was really into this movie. It had some really emotional moments, surprisingly. So I really didn't have too many complaints about it, even though it's 4 hours long. Like, when I think 4 hours long, I'm like, oh my god. Like, I'm thinking of Lawrence of Arabia, which is a phenomenal film. But this is a phenomenal film in its own right. Just know what you're getting into before you get into this one. But I can also recommend this film, and if I was going to give this film a score of 1 to 10, I'm going to give this one an 8 out of 10. And the last film, and certainly not least, for Frank from Frank's Media and Reviews, I am going to be talking about Martyrs from 2008, which did get a United States remake, but this is the French version. And this film, my God, Frank said that this is the most extreme movie that he's ever recommended to me, and he was not lying, but this was a phenomenal film, and I was surprised. I had never heard of this movie, and when you look it up on Wikipedia, it's like ranked as one of the best horror films of all time by a lot of people, including IGN, so that surprised me that it kind of slipped by me. And, you know, just shows some of the blank spots in my 4 horror catalog, which I'm trying to build up more of, because I eventually want to do like a top 10 4 horror films on physical media list here on the channel, but I gotta watch more of them. I gotta buy more of them on 4K Blu-ray. I don't even know about this film's physical media releases. I went into this movie completely blind, like I try to do, so I let the mystery unravel. And this is the definition of a horror mystery film. You could argue that this is a noir horror film in a lot of ways, because the way this movie starts off is nothing like you would expect this movie to end, because they get right into it. You think that this is going to be a revenge tale. That's what I was thinking at the very beginning, because in their 1970s, I think 1971, we see a girl escaping this like warehouse. I guess it actually just turns out to be a house, but anyway, she's escaping it, a younger girl, running out of there. Turns out she was kidnapped by these monsters, so she gets, and when I say monsters, I mean actual human beings, but you know, there's a little bit of a monster in here. Anyway, we'll get more into it. She gets placed in an orphanage home, and then 15 years later, she shows up at their house, and again, this is all at the very beginning of the movie, seeking revenge on these people, and it goes into this just brutal scene of her massacring this family. And are these people involved in what happened to her kidnapping years before? Because I thought that this movie was going to be a complete revenge tale, and it's like, did she just wipe them all out at the very beginning? And then it, you know, becomes a lot more. It becomes a person having to deal with this trauma, the trauma of what happened to her all those years ago. But not just her trauma, her French trauma as well. We saw her at the very, very beginning, you know, in this orphanage, getting in bed with her. So it appears these two have had this relationship where they care for each other for a very long time. They help each other out. but they both have their demons, and literal demons, like, basically, is what this movie is trying to show us. And then it ends up in such a different place after this that it's just something that I never expected. And then when you get to the very end, it has one of the most surprising and shocking moments. Like, when we think we're going to get our answers, something comes out of there and it just blows you away. Like, something where your jaw hits the ground and you're like, you got to gather it back up and finish the film. And I was like, oh my God, this is one of the best horror films of all time. Like, I couldn't believe it. Like, I understand why it's on those lists. I understand why it got that 2015 remake. This is a phenomenal film, but it's also a very brutal film. Like, people at the time I saw who didn't like the film, and I was reading some reviews, like, they labeled this just like a gore fest, a splatter fest because of the gore in this movie. I think it works for the tone of the movie, in my opinion, because it's like over the top enough that it's not like a gory, disgusting movie. Even though there are some torture scenes. Yes, there are some torture scenes that might be a little tough for some people. I feel like I'm like kind of desensitized to like this. Again, a movie like Arachnophobia, a movie with like spiders, scares me more than a movie like this. So, my brain chemistry might be a little thrown off by what scares me and like what gets me uncomfortable. Like, I was just into the drama of the film, and what ended up happening at the very end just like blew my socks off. So this is a movie obviously I can highly recommend as well. If I was going to give this film a score of 1 to 10, I'm going to give this one a 9.5 out of 10. What a phenomenal film. And all the films I watched this month, as usual, were great. Even The Cellar, even though I knocked it around a little bit, I still enjoyed my time with it. I was never bored with any of these movies. Thank you guys all so much. Of course, if you guys want to join the director's tier or the bankroll tier, you can do that. You can look for that in the description below. But of course, no pressure at all. I appreciate everybody who just checks out these videos. I appreciate my producers and my directors and my friends of the channel and my bankroll members. I appreciate all of you guys so much. Thank you guys for being here and supporting the channel. I really do appreciate it. And if you could, hit that like, share, and subscribe, and tell your friends about us.